All right, hi guys. If you're seeing this or you're seeing me, it's because I have an important message for you guys. In a few weeks or in a few months, first of all, let me just announce that yes, Dear Black Woman is a nonprofit. We are a 501c3 media based charity. Um, we are also an adult education resource, but I have some news to deliver. We are going to most likely pull down all of our social media sites. And here's why. America is under watch. Now, after the murder or shooting at Utah State that killed conservative activist Charlie Kirk, the US government sort of launched a sweeping crackdown under the banner of fighting domestic terrorism. Now, here's the catch with that, and I need to be very clear with you on something, and that is the definition of what domestic terrorism is. It is expanding, and that now means nonprofits, donors, activists, and even ordinary citizens may actually find themselves under scrutiny. In the next couple of minutes or so, we're going to break down what domestic terrorism actually looks like and what that means and what has changed in 2025. I'm sure I don't have to point out to you guys what has changed, but we all know what has changed. Who is the most at risk and how you can protect yourself in the new climate of suspicion. Now, let's start with the basics. U.S. law defines domestic terrorism as acts dangerous to human life that break the law and intended to intimidate civilians or influence government policies as long as they happen on U.S. soil. But here's the key point. It's a definition, not a charge. Most prosecutors still have to rely on existing laws like firearm charges or conspiracy charges to actually charge you with something. Now, recently, though, the Trump administration has stretched that definition just a little, well, not a little bit, but what's a little bit? A lot to them. Um, he did indict, in fact, write a presidential memorandum and an executive order that directed federal agencies to compile lists of groups considered domestic terrorists, investigate funders, and even label Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization, despite Antifa not even being a formal group. Now, for the first time, the financial and activist networks behind political movements are being explicitly targeted. Part of the reason why we are pulling our social media is so that we protect the brand. Um, we are not a political movement, but we know that under the guise of political movements or anything like that, our brand is called Dear Black Woman. Two words that are already on the grant funders do not fund list. Okay. So the reason why we're doing that is to protect the brand, but also to continue to be able to provide you all with the resources that are needed. We are not taking down our website. Our website is being designed to mimic that of social media sites as well. So you will still have the groups, you will still have online programs, you will have all of that stuff and access to everything that we would post on social media right there on our website. So I encourage you, if you are not a member of our website, this is the time to go over and sign up as a member, simply because we have not enforced our payment scale for our membership yet. So you can slide in real free, like, just to stay up to date with us. Now, let's talk about the real impact, because these new directives cast a really wide net. Number one, progressive nonprofits and foundations. This is the one that technically we're going to fall up under, okay? Now, the IRS has been told to audit tax exempt groups and cut off funding to anything linked to political violence. This means charities working in racial justice, climate activism, and LGBTQ plus rights could come under suspicion, even if they have no connection to violence. I told you at the beginning, that's the reason why we're coming off social media. Number two, individual donors. Yes, even you. People donating small amounts to activist organizations may face questioning. The government is explicitly hunting for both institutional and individual funders. Number three, Antifa participants and sympathizers. With Antifa labeled as a domestic terrorist organization, anyone identifying with the movement, even through social media posts, could face surveillance. Number four, mass shooters and support networks. So that's funny. The proposed End Domestic Terrorism Act would treat certain mass shootings as terrorism, with charges extending to anyone providing material support. What's funny is, I bet you those mass shootings are going to end up being mass shootings within our communities. If you go read the article that I posted on this, it actually breaks down what mass shooting means now in this act. Check it. All right, number five, protest organizers and activists. That's right, you heard me correct. Any protest organizers and any activists. Federal agents are directed to question detainees about who organized protests, who supported them, and how they were financed. Even lawful protest organizers could be pulled into investigations. Number six, banks and financial advisors. Financial institutions must now monitor and flag suspicious transactions. That could mean frozen accounts or red flags for people engaged in activism, which is why we have to come off social media. I have taken this year to build the Dear Black Woman media brand, and it is so that I can extend this platform to as many Black women as I possibly can so that your voice can be heard. But we are definitely facing some trying times. Number seven. Now, I laugh at this one because we both know this ain't going to be enforced. White supremacists and neo-Nazi extremists. With all of the January 6 people receiving pardons, we both know that number seven is not going to be enforced, especially with the majority of them being ICE agents. Oh, I better be quiet. The government isn't ignoring the far right. They are dedicated they have created dedicated offices that are being that are going within the DOJ, the DHS, and the FBI to monitor these groups, which remain a top threat. That's not true. Number eight, military and police personnel. Special task force are tasked with rooting out extremist infiltration in the uniformed services and law enforcement. I'm going to be quiet, but I just want to say I feel like that's going to be utilized backwards in a different type of way. Number nine, marginalized activist communities. Some conservative campaigns want trans rights and racial justice groups labeled as extremists. That raises real fears of overreach, which is why we're going to come off of social media. Because technically, even though we aren't a political movement, we are a racial-based group. Now, why now? The Department of Homeland Security's 2025 threat assessment points to lone offenders and small cells as the most persistent threat. The Center for Strategic and International Studies actually reports that while domestic terror attacks are less deadly than international terrorism, they happen more often. We've seen that. And they're increasingly political. No duh. Listen, there have been a lot of high profile shootings, and this sort of created the perfect storm for a governmental crackdown. We know which high profile shooting that was. But history shows us a pattern. Each wave of domestic violence from Oklahoma City in 1995 to Buffalo in 2022 has led to louder calls for stronger laws. The funny part about this is everybody who's done those look the exact same way. These also raise a couple of critical questions. Are we protecting the nation or policing dissent? Civil liberty advocates argue that labeling groups or individuals as domestic terrorists without a trial invites overreach. It can justify surveillance, audits, and reputational damage before anyone is charged with a crime. Financial surveillance is another big issue. By deputizing banks and nonprofits to police donations, the government risks chilling activism and discouraging free expression. Isn't that funny? In short, it's not just about stopping extremists, it's about who gets caught up in that quote unquote extremist net. You get what I'm saying? So here's what we can do. First of all, I'm going to, in my next issue, in our October issue, I'm going to publish a Know Your Rights issue. This is going to be a full issue that I encourage you to become a member, or subscribe to receive. Our subscription is free with any level of our membership. And it's a resource guide that I like for you not only to keep in your house, but to share with others if possible. One thing I need you to understand is you don't have to answer investigators without a lawyer. If you have a lawyer in your network, please make sure that your lawyer has a retainer. If there are any lawyers out there that like to help a nonprofit out pro bono, reach out to me, please. You can contact me at cami@camired.com. Be careful with your donations, even to organizations like my own, okay? My support is transparent, nonviolent, or support transparent, nonviolent organizations and keep records. We are a transparent, nonviolent organization, but we are also an organization based on race. So just keep records of what you do. I also keep really good records as well. So any donations that are made to our organizations, we will make sure that you have a great record of that also. Stay peaceful at protests. Now, here's the thing. This is what I'm going to encourage you to do. If you are one of my followers and you look like me, I'm going to tell you to fight with rest and resistance. Do not put your name on any form that puts you down as a protest organizer, even though I'm going to say this to others: get permits, de-escalate conflict, and avoid vandalism. Okay? But if you look like me, stay your black ass at home and fight with rest and resistance. If you understood that. Okay? Now, keep documentation of everything. Save receipts of donations. And if you are going to be an activist, make sure that you document everything that you're doing. Those of you who are going to be participating in protests and activities around activism, become a content creator. That's the best way to, document your journey. I know they're taking away TikTok, but go ahead and build up your YouTube page. You can always post on YouTube. That way we have a record of what's going on and what you're doing. Also, make sure that you leave messages in case something happens to you. And what I mean by that is, if you were scooped up in a raid, if you are taken to one of these concentration camps, leave a message before you are taken or before you start a protest to let us know that you are not suicidal, please. Stay informed. Track legislation like the in Domestic Terrorism Act. It could redefine what's considered support for terrorism. These steps don't really eliminate the risk, but they help you stay prepared. Here's the thing: one of the reasons we're coming off social media is because our magazine is a resource guide. Everything that I'm talking about right now, I'm going to give you these same steps in our October issue. I'm also going to go over certain things that we need to keep within our community. Here's the thing: we can't share everything in the world. And we need to go back to the old ways of speaking to each other through writing, through reading, through. So if you have a book that you want to get out, if you have information, if you want to write something, you can always come over here. I'm always looking for writers, and we'll publish our articles as well. America is at a crossroad, you guys. The 2025 domestic terrorism crackdown may it's not going to strengthen our national security, but it's definitely going to erode the civil liberties in the name of protection. One thing is undeniable, though. The definition of domestic terrorism is expanding, and every American is now under watch. So, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. So many more people understand how these changes could affect. So more people can understand how these changes affect their lives. Thank you for watching, and I hope this was informative. And I'll see you again when I have some more news to promote to you guys. And I know some of you all out there like, what does this have to do with me? What does this have to do with me? It's got everything to do with you. Everything to do with you. Be careful of where you're throwing your support. Pay attention to what's going on because, again, America is under watch. Yeah. You guys have a great evening. I'll talk to you later.